to the CompassPD podcast, where we dive into evidence-based practices and research-driven strategies that empower educators and leaders to make a lasting impact. I'm Dr. Stephanie Brenner, your host, alongside Rachel Wheatley and Ann Evers from the Churchill Center and School. Welcome, Rachel and Ann.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us.
coming.
I am thrilled. Been thrilled since we started talking about this. So I'm very happy that today is finally here. Rachel and Ann, both of you have very impressive backgrounds and histories, especially with the Churchill School. Can you tell us a little bit about each of you?
Sure, I am the head of school. Prior to that, I was the director of admissions, the auditory visual supervisor, a teacher, a tutor, and I've just been so fortunate to have a career here where I was able to not only witness the field of learning disabilities, but watch that grow as well as Churchill. And we truly are experts in the field. And we are so excited as we are approaching our 50th birthday.
I didn't know that it was
It's a
getting
couple of
closer
years
to
away.
the
It certainly
Wow,
is.
that is really, really exciting. What a long history of
We're
being
excited.
a pillar in the community. That's great. Rachel?
So I taught at Churchill for 12 years in the language arts department. And then my family and I moved to Boise, Idaho, and we were there for 5 years. And charter schools are really big in Boise. So I became the testing coordinator and Title I and multilingual teacher. And I gained my certification in multilingual instruction. And I became the federal programs director.
Wow.
And saw that side of things. And it was a great experience, but I was so happy to come back to Churchill and be in my home. And it was great timing as the person who had my role before was retiring. So it all just, the stars aligned for me to be back at home at Churchill.
I bet they were really glad to welcome you
Yes.
back as well. And definitely the stars aligned to be able to come back where you feel at home and have a place where your heart feels where you should be as well. That's definitely a wonderful opportunity. October is Dyslexia Awareness Month. It is often a time dedicated to deepening understanding, strengthening support, and celebrating the strengths of individuals with dyslexia. Today, I'm honored to welcome the leaders of Churchill Center and School. Churchill has been, like I mentioned, a pillar of St. Louis for almost 50 years now, and not only serving students with language-based disabilities, but also empowering teachers and families and schools through high quality training, outreach, and partnerships. And that's how I first formed a relationship with Churchill, was a partnership with my former school district and the outreach and training that Churchill was able to provide. I've invited them into this conversation because their work reflects what Dyslexia Awareness Month is all about. And it's about informed instruction, equitable support, and a strong belief that possibilities of every child are endless. The purpose of this episode is to help listeners understand how to support students with dyslexia in and out of the classroom. We'll talk about Churchill's educator training model. We will talk about the work they do with families and practical steps that schools can take to better serve students with dyslexia. Ready? Let's dive in.
Okay, so Churchill is an independent school located in St. Louis County. We have been around since 1978. We were founded by two moms.
It's so wonderful.
It is.
It's a great story.
And they had bright boys who had a hard time learning how to read. So at that point in the 1978 era, there really weren't a lot of services in St. Louis. So they ended up sending their sons to boarding school and realized that there was a need for a school in St. Louis. So the rest is history. I think their intention was to start a summer school. And that summer school program grew into the school that we are today. So we serve over 150 students. And, it's not only the school that we have tutoring services, but it's really our outreach department, and which Rachel is in charge of, that we can really serve students and impact other students that aren't necessarily in our building.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just making a difference for every student out there one at a time,
Right, exactly.
which is so important. So, it's really our mission is to have our students have high potential, and we're very intentional with our admissions. The other exciting thing about Churchill is that it was founded after the landmark school in Pride's Crossing, Massachusetts,
Yeah.
which is still in existence today, flourishing. And they too have the daily one-on-one tutorial. And they had a class called auditory. And of course, we have a class here called auditory visual, which works on the processing skills
Right.
that you need to be a good reader and a good writer.
Right.
So our mission at Churchill is to give students the finest individualized remedial education,
Right.
and to have them return to that traditional classroom as soon as possible. But in addition to that, it's really to provide support and foster greater understanding to the community about learning disabilities. And that's where you met us. When we
Right.
were doing our outreach in traditional classrooms,
Right.
school districts here, as well as some of the other independent schools.
Right. And I think that is just probably a unique characteristic
Mm-hmm.
that Churchill has, with that outreach and willingness to partner with other schools and provide high quality professional learning for teachers.
Right.
Where a lot of other private schools, don't have that as one of their core values and missions. Or do they? If they do, it's not something that they really make come to life, and Churchill does.
Well, and we're fortunate because it's because of donors that we are able to go to other schools and provide these services at either no cost or low cost.
Yeah.
So it was the Forever Grateful campaign about 5 or 6 years ago that really made that possible. Through
Wow.
the Sandra K partnership.
Wow.
We always had outreach. Well, not always, since 1980.
90s.
90s. We had outreach, but now we're able to do it on a greater scope.
Right. And I'm forever grateful for that. I have benefited from it. The district that I used to serve benefited from it, but just anyone in the area. And this isn't the only Churchill school either.
Yeah.
Like, there are Churchill schools across the country that have the same mission and
There's one other school that we know of with the name of Churchill, which is not affiliated with us, but there are over 200 other independent schools that really specialize in the language-based learning disabilities. Yeah. And it's really the Association of LD Schools, which is a newly formed association that has brought
In the
over
last couple of years,
all these schools together.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Just
Rachel?
one of the core values at Churchill is being knowledgeable, and that educators at Churchill are experts in dyslexia, which is what the majority of our kids are diagnosed with, along with other comorbidities that are common with dyslexia. So yes, the kiddos are with us for an average of just under 4 years, but it really depends on the complexity and severity of their learning disability and their journey.
And again, I think that's something that's unique about Churchill. It's we want you here, but we're gonna give you very targeted instruction by very high quality teachers, and with the goal of helping you transition to your home school as soon as possible in a way that is going to set you up for success. So making sure that you're set up properly for success when you transfer back. It's not once you're at Churchill, you always have to be at Churchill. The goal is to get you back
and that
to
is
your
a unique
school
mission.
Right. And that's why I brought it up, because it's not,
even in the other LD schools, most of them will keep the kiddos until they're through 12th grade or through 8th grade, however high they go. But yes, our mission really, And that helps us reach that many more kids because then
Yeah.
we can we have room for more kiddos.
Yeah. And I think that also for families that are considering having their children come to Churchill, that's got to be reassuring to them too, to know that the magic that happens here is so highly targeted to their child. You're able to not only catch them up, but have them be prepared well enough that they can go back to their home school.
Well, and our intention is that they go back and they really thrive. not
Right,
to survive.
right.
but to
That's what I like.
thrive.
It's not just to catch them up; they're set up for huge
Being
success
successful.
once they're there.
And the other schools really get excited when we go and share what we do with them because they have our alumni
Mm-hmm.
and they are blown away at their self-advocacy, at their classroom skills, at
Right.
their demystification
Mm-hmm. That
and note-taking skills, everything.
like all of those I don't want to just say soft skills, but also the unspoken school type of characteristics or strengths that kids need that we don't talk about.
And really, their life skills.
Right, like organization and things like that they have strategies and that help them.
So, in addition to the daily one-on-one tutorial, we have your typical math class. Only I say typical because that's a traditional class that students would have. But again, our type of instruction here would be multisensory and individualized to meet whatever the students' needs are. But language arts, we're focusing really on the writing,
Yeah.
as well as social studies, science, and then we have that unique class of auditory visual. But our students get fine arts and they get motor skills daily,
Yeah.
just to really help develop other strengths and passions. And the brain needs to have other things to work on besides the weaknesses. So we're
Exactly,
remediating
yeah.
the weak areas while developing other areas
Yeah.
of talent and expertise.
And I just think that it's amazing.
Well, thank you. Another core value that we have is knowledgeable. So we are fortunate here. We are a Wilson Partner School. We are a best practice site, and we have 5 Wilson language trainers, which it's a gift for us because our teachers are certified and trained and have continuous professional development.
Right.
But as you said earlier, it's also a gift to the community because we are at other schools, public and private, working with the teachers, teaching them to be master teachers with Wilson, as well as the Foundations program, which is for the younger kids.
Right. And that's becoming more and more popular too.
And that is good instruction, whether you have a diagnosed learning disability or not.
Yeah, and very true. It's good for all kids.
Correct.
It's critical for kids who have dyslexia.
And it works.
Exactly.
It's effective.
Right. It's the phrase, I think it gets thrown around, but when I say it, I really mean it. It's not just research based, but evidence based.
Yes.
And both the Foundations and Wilson are both research and evidence based instructional models. What you guys have described is a dream education setting. It really is for students and the educators. You mentioned that several staff members are Wilson trained, and that's a huge accomplishment, not for those teachers and for your school. And one thing we know is that level of training of teachers highly impacts the effectiveness of the instruction. And highly trained teachers is one of the biggest appeals to Churchill.
It is.
And so, can you talk a little bit about the training model here for teachers?
It's a really big question because we do a lot of teacher training. We don't necessarily take teachers who are special ed or elementary ed. We really look for good fits. So it really starts with we ask questions about if they're proactive, if they have a love of learning, if they are open to tips and strategies and learning how to work with kids, because really we need lifetime learners as our instructors. So it's a continuous learning, and the expectation is continual growth for teachers. We really look at if a good culture fit, which also means that they're very child-centered,
Mm.
and that's the really main criteria. We can train other things,
Right.
but we can't train if you're child-centered or not.
Right.
And every teacher works closely with supervisor, curriculum, and tutorial coach, and they meet with them once a week or less often, more often.
Mhm.
But typically when you start, it's once a week that you'll work with each one of those coaches. And then 3 Wednesdays a month, we ask teachers to be available for professional development and team meetings and everything.
And that's for all teachers. That's not just new teachers.
Correct. Yes. And then the 4th Wednesday a month is for our new teachers after school.
Okay. So, that makes sense. So new teachers have and very intense training those first couple
Additional
of years.
training,
Yes.
yes.
And did I hear right that they work with 2 coaches
One
a
for the
week?
tutorial and one for the curriculum. And that's
so great.
regardless of how long you are here. I mean,
Right.
collaborating and 2 minds are better than one. And if our mission is to give these kids the finest education, we need to
Right.
work together.
Exactly. You're right. Absolutely. And that model of, I loved what you said, Rachel, that I can teach you, I can get you trained as a Wilson teacher, but I can't train you on loving kids. And I can't train you on being a lifelong learner.
Mm-hmm.
And having those things as what you're looking for most in the educators who join the staff that's a really helps serve the mission of the school.
It does, yes. And after the first year, teachers just kind of get to know who we are and what we're all about and how to work with kids and how to work on a team of teachers and all of that. And then their second year, they'll do their level 1 practicum typically, which is a year-long intensive.
And that's the practicum for Wilson training.
Correct,
certification.
Yes, level 1 certification. And they work closely with one of our Wilson trainers for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second year, then we focus on key comprehension routine, which is our note-taking and comprehension method that we instruct. So all of our teachers get training in Wilson and the key comprehension routine.
Wow.
And then the third year, if they want to keep going with level 2 certification in Wilson, then we make that happen for them. As long as all of that, the level 2 is a little tricky to make sure that kids and all of that align to get it done within a year. But yes, many of our teachers are level 2 certified as well. And then there's other opportunities. We have bring in speakers. Do you want to talk about
We
speakers?
do. So this year we've brought in the responsive classroom to
wow.
address the needs of social emotional learning needs of students. This spring we're bringing in experts from all kinds of minds to talk about the neurodevelopment
I think that's so cool.
constructs, which is so critical that everyone understands what
happening
do we
in the
need
brain.
in order to learn.
Right,
It's not just a matter of sitting still and paying attention.
Right.
It's language and higher order thinking and memory and sequencing and reasoning and all those other skills that we need.
Right.
And then, part of our speaker series over the years, we've brought in experts like Rick LaVoy and the Shaywitzes, and of course, Dr. Sally Shaywitz's book, Overcoming Dyslexia, is one of our favorites.
Mine too.
And then just other experts in the field. Another favorite book that many people have used is The Basic Facts About Dyslexia, which is published by the International Dyslexia
and
Association.
That's by Louisa Moats, right?
Is she
one of the
she's
authors
one
or
of
the
authors?
Yes,
there's several. I think several people have been involved with that book.
Okay.
But it is a good resource that we always introduce to people when this whole idea of dyslexia is new to them.
Is that one good for parents as
It would
well?
be great for parents. In fact, it's easier to digest than Overcoming Dyslexia. It's a good book to start with and then move into Overcoming Dyslexia, which is just such a great resource.
Yeah.
So demystification is such a critical part of our program, and it's really taking the mystery out of learning for the kids.
Right.
So It can be anything as simple as reading a book to them. There's lots of children's books out these days about dyslexia,
Yeah.
or it can be teaching them of why are we using this strategy? How does that help you? But over the years, I mean, we had Henry Winkler come, that was many years ago, but he has written a fabulous series for kids, the Hank Zipser series. And really, Hank is about a 10-year-old boy, and he's dyslexic. And guess who he's written after? He's
Himself.
yes, Henry Winkler, and they are just fabulous books to
They're
read.
so engaging. They're very engaging.
They are, and they're real. And if a student has just been diagnosed, it's a great way to introduce
Right.
that whole idea and concept to the student, the child, that it's not all bad. It's actually a good thing.
Right.
To understand, once you get that diagnosis, people can actually help you and give you what you need. But so Henry Winkler's been here over the years. A couple years ago, we had Jared Blank, and he came and he ran 7 continents in 7 days, and he's written a book about that. And he was fascinating. I mean, if you can imagine that. So he's dyslexic and has a story to tell as well.
Obviously, 7 continents in 7 days. That's a big story.
It is a big story. So
Yeah.
we've had artists and all sorts of people that have just been an inspiration to our kids.
Right.
And, the other cool thing is, for many of our kids, is dyslexia can run in the family.
Yeah.
So they have positive role models, many of them in their own family.
Right. And that's such a good point to bring up, that in my experience, that oftentimes when a kid's diagnosed or they start having problems and you're having conversations with families, it comes out, oh, well, I had problems reading or writing, or grandpa did, or the uncle did, or the sibling did.
And a lot of times they never were diagnosed or never knew why they struggled. And then,
Right.
so they're also experiencing all of that while they're
they
when
have
they're
the
learning.
emotion about for themselves, not just their child, and that's where these kinds of opportunities for the students and families can be really, really helpful. And I know that you talked a little bit before, you shared with me before some of the things that you've done for families and part of that outreach as well, that is part of the professional learning that you provide. Do you want to speak a little bit about that?
About experience dyslexia?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So we have a lot of leadership opportunities for our teachers too, which is extremely beneficial for them to be able to share their knowledge with not only our staff, but others as well. So we offer experience dyslexia a few times a month for the community at no cost. And our teachers lead stations, and there's 6 stations that you rotate through for experience dyslexia. And it's a phenomenal event. And our teachers love doing it as well, and getting to know the community. And there's also a lot of emotions that come after parents or grandparents or even educators go through it, because things that you think are helping are not helping.
Yes.
And you don't realize that until you are there experiencing it.
And so for our listeners, the experience dyslexia is a series of simulation that people who do not have dyslexia are put into situations to make them feel like they do have dyslexia, and they experience all the struggles that comes with reading, writing, taking notes, and communicating, and all of those things. So yes, so many emotions arise when family members participate in that, and I think it's, like you said, that's a really great opportunity to give teachers the opportunity to start doing some leadership and helping others grow, and they're building their own knowledge even more as they do it.
Yes, and we definitely would not have an outreach department without all of our great teachers helping out and sharing with the broader community everything that they know and their expertise.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
We also have a sibling workshop that our teachers present. Actually, it's similar to experienced dyslexia, only
Uh-huh.
appropriate for
For
their age and where they're coming from. But this is a family event when a student is diagnosed, and
Right.
often the student that is diagnosed may take more time and energy, and it's affecting the other kids in the family too. So to give them
Yeah.
some empathy and some understanding really is helpful.
Right. Helps them have a better perspective of what their sibling
Right.
is experiencing.
One of our speakers was, I can't remember if it was Lavoy or Brooks, and he talked about the waterbed.
With
Yeah.
Lavoie.
Oh,
How
that's
the family on the waterbed with the student with the dyslexia
yeah,
or whatever the
right.
learning disability might be. One moves and they all move as far as that acceptance and
That's such a great
dealing with
analogy.
it.
I've not heard that analogy before, and that is really great. Yeah, that's true. If you're on a waterbed, like
Oh,
yeah.
everybody's feeling it. Mom is in one place, dad's in another place, and the child and sibling are on other places. So it just
right.
everyone's impacted.
Yeah, absolutely. That analogy is gonna stick in my head forever. I really am speechless to hear all of the opportunities for your staff, and not just your staff, but for the family members of the students that you serve. It's just amazing that they are able to participate in growing and learning about dyslexia and learning differences in general, not just dyslexia. I really can't imagine how inspiring and motivating it would be to have those speakers and those
Yeah.
opportunities. Me just hearing about the names and the people gets me excited, and I wasn't even there. So I can't imagine how much your teachers value those opportunities. I think that one of the things I say often is if you want teachers to feel valued and appreciated, it's to provide them with not only with high quality professional learning and opportunities like that. That's when you invest in them as the teacher, they feel valued, and you guys are you're knocking that out of the park, which I think is amazing. You mentioned the experience dyslexia events, which are big opportunities to participate in simulations and sibling workshops and other community events. Can you talk more about that? I'm thinking, like, how do you involve parents in some of that understanding, which we've talked a little bit about?
So every student works with their tutorial teacher to prepare a demystification talk. And again, demystification is taking the mystery out of the kids' learning, the students' learning. And it's really, demystification is talked about across the student's entire day, entire school year. So they prepare, and it can be anything. I've had students make an iPhone, and because they wanted an iPhone, so they used an iPhone, and the apps were their strategies.
Oh
And
wow.
they talked about what drains their battery and what powers their battery. So it's really just the parents come in, and sometimes grandparents, sometimes siblings come in, and the students really take ownership over their strengths, their challenges, their allies who's in their corner supporting them and helping them,
Right.
and their strategies that they're learning to be successful. So it can be focused on one class, maybe written language, or it can be focused on Wilson instruction and learning how to decode and spell, or it can be focused broadly across the board about all the skills and strategies that they've learned at Churchill. And it's a really powerful experience and super fun for families and
And
kids.
it really just depends on the age of the student and where exactly they are. Some of our students, as they get ready to transition back to that traditional classroom, their demystification process is writing a letter to their future teachers, introducing themselves and telling them what their strengths are, what's a challenge, and how they will advocate for themselves and what strategies help them.
Right.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
And that really could be part of the IEP process.
The transition back process. Yeah.
And it could be, yes, and the whole demystification should be part of the IEP, and the kids should be involved and know what their goals are
Right.
on their IEPs.
Right. When I first heard about the demystification projects, like no lie, like tears welled up in my eyes. And I have known some family members who have come to Churchill, and that was one of the first things that they mentioned was the demystification emphasis and the projects.
Well, self-understanding is just so critical to
Right.
this. And, for students to be their own advocates and know what they need and have the confidence to ask for it really just unlocks a lot of opportunities.
It does. And that's, I think, when I've talked to family members, that's exactly what they were excited about, was it provided opportunities for their child to learn about themselves and learn how to advocate for themselves so that when they did transition back to their school, they were more set up to thrive.
Mhm.
Right.
Because they're able to communicate their needs to others. We talked about overcoming dyslexia, and Sally, she's my best friend, but she doesn't know who I am. I feel that way. But one of my favorite quotes about Sally, and it's in chapter 22, protecting and nourishing your child's soul, is the quote is, parents and teachers too of children with dyslexia should make their number one goal the preservation of their child's self-esteem. And that really is my favorite quote from the entire book. And I think that the demystification projects that you have going on are living up to that standard. And I think it's just encouraging to hear those. And I think that is one thing that schools could do.
Yes.
In public schools that are not Churchill, that is one thing that they could do. With so much greatness occurring here at Churchill, how can, and this like what I just mentioned kind of leads into this, but how can public school leaders or district teams start integrating what Churchill does in their structures and systems?
We love that Sally Shaywitz quote as well. And Churchill's really unique, but there are some things that you can really transfer and take into the public schools
Mhm.
or a traditional school. We're really child-centered, and every decision that we make is based on what's best for the student and each individual student. We're very intentional about that.
Right.
The important thing is that all of our teachers are trained and that teachers do need to be trained and that all of these research-based programs need to be done with fidelity.
Yes.
And that goes back to the training. It's not that you can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and have it be effective.
Right.
For a program to be really effective, it needs to be properly trained. It needs to be done well, done effectively. It's just critical, no matter what program a teacher is using, that they're using it to fidelity. These research-based programs have been proven to be effective because of the way they were designed and a way that they were to be implemented. So the teacher training, professional development with whatever curriculum it might be is so important so that it can be carried out with fidelity.
Right. So that you get that academic growth you're
Right.
expecting with your child or with your students. Exactly.
Another aspect of Churchill that really could transfer into traditional schools is that our teacher retention is really strong, and it's because we invest in teachers. We take care of our teachers. We encourage them to take mental health days when they need to. We really have a lot of structures and supports in place to encourage them and help them be the best that they can be. We have a social committee that plans fun events and contests for the staff. And then as we talked about, research proves that teacher education really helps retain teachers too. And obviously we're very strong in that.
Right, absolutely. And it seems like there's definitely a magical component to Churchill, and when you walk in, you feel it there. And I'm not the only one that has said that. Almost anybody that I've talked to that has come visit Churchill, there's just something about when you walk in, and I think that is part of the culture and what keeps the teachers wanting to be here.
And it's the children's success because of the program.
And
that is what keeps everyone coming back.
Right.
And you
They
build
really
such
are great.
strong relationships with students and their families too, because you work one-on-one with the kiddos. And even on our curriculum classes, you max at 10
Right.
kids in each curriculum class, so that you get to know those kids so well too, and you get so excited for them, and their learning is like eats your soul.
And
Right.
kids want to learn.
Oh,
and so the
gosh.
fact that they have techniques and strategies that are being implemented to help them to be successful learners is what keeps them going, and that in turn keeps all of the faculty and staff going as well.
Yeah.
And the kids aren't just like this teacher's kid. The kids are all of our kids, and we all have a hand in each and every student. We share that, and I think that also is powerful in that it's not just dependent on you as the classroom teacher to make sure
Right.
that the kids are growing.
Right.
We're a team. working together,
Absolutely. Yeah.
parents and
Everyone.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. The family connection. It's everyone has a high vetted interest in each child.
Yes.
And you feel the successes together. And one of the things you had shared with me before was that every day the staff gets together to talk about things that are going really great for particular kids, or even bringing to the whole entire staff attention if a kid's having a rough day, to
Right.
how you can
Absolutely.
love on them a little bit more, which just goes more with the relationship and feeling of you feel like this is your place.
Right.
And so it's not just kids feel like this is their place. Teachers get to feel like this is their place
Absolutely.
too. Yeah. And I said it earlier and I'll say it again, there's just a unique quality to Churchill, and that you really feel it when you walk in, and it's different than any other school I've entered. And I say that with very sincere, genuine.
Well, we thank you, and we welcome visitors. Let other people see what we have to offer, and if they're coming for a workshop or whatever it might be, take away whatever you can.
Yeah.
Because we do have a lot of great things happening here.
Yes, you're right. And not everything can be taken back to a public or a traditional setting because of the uniqueness of Churchill. But there are definitely some things that teachers could take and start doing right away. And so, kind of on that vein, what do you think would be recommendations that you would give a classroom teacher that they could start tomorrow that would really help create an environment and feeling of support for kids who have dyslexia?
One of the things they can do is just be there to welcome the student to their room every day. For a student to know that they're welcomed and part of a warm, supportive place to learn that's safe is fabulous. Another thing teachers can do is go to our website, and we have an outreach program with workshops, and all that is on our website.
Yeah, and it's Churchill
stl.org, and that's because there is another Churchill in the United States.
Yeah, and I think sharing too, like your struggles with the kiddos.
That's a good point.
Like, for example, in my master's classes now, I'm struggling to like pay attention and comprehend the reading material. So I interact with the text and I highlight and take notes and draw arrows and all of those things. So talking about areas that you struggle with. I struggle to remember things, so I write them all down as well. And that really helps kids understand that everybody has strengths and weaknesses, and we all use strategies to help us every day. And going back to the Sally Shewitz quote as well, IDA has a new definition of dyslexia coming out,
right?
Which is exciting. It should come out later this year or early next year. And they talk too in there about the secondary consequences of psychological well-being and how important that is.
Yeah.
So really just creating an environment and loving kids and meeting them where they are without having those high expectations. Somebody said we have to stop shoulding on kids. Like they should be able to do this. We should be able to do that.
I love that.
Mhm.
Wow.
And they'll do it if they can do it.
Yeah, when they're ready. But
Yes.
that should be able to.
Mhm.
When they're ready, they will be
Mhm.
able to. I think that's a great mission, or really great advice. One of the things that I love it too when we talk about kids who have dyslexia and the teacher showing up and showing their own struggles or their need for strategies, I think that takes the weight off of kids.
Sure.
That one, they have teachers who know, they say to kids basically, I know you have dyslexia and you're struggling with XYZ. It's not your fault. It's okay. I know exactly what you need and I'm here to help you. That's just one of the best messages we can give kids. And then prove it to them by showing up every day, giving them that,
Supporting them.
It's really
that
reassuring.
instruction that is
Mhm.
high quality instruction that
Yes.
is using research based programs with fidelity.
Fidelity.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. And I
But-
think, go ahead.
I was going to say, kids want to learn.
Yes.
And there are not really lazy kids out there.
No.
There are kids that may not know how to tackle a task, but they do want to learn.
Mm-hmm.
And it will show up in different ways too with different kids.
Right.
I think too, thinking about the goal of your assignment, and if your goal of the assignment is to show knowledge, curriculum knowledge, then maybe we shouldn't grade spelling and grammar
Right.
and sentence structure for those tasks. So really thinking and keeping the goal of an assignment in mind too, and what you really want to grade
Mm-hmm.
for the kiddos. For elementary school students, 80% of your kids should be successful with your core reading curriculum. If they're not, if you're not hitting that 80%, it's either a fidelity problem
Mm-hmm.
or it's what program you're using problem. So you really need to dive into that too. And then making sure that your tier 2 and tier 3 align and you're using the same instructional language
Oh, that is
with your
so
kids
important.
is important as well.
Yeah.
Yes. And CompassPD also has some great podcasts and
Yes.
resources too.
Yeah.
I listened to your one from last October,
Oh.
and it was on
It was
dyslexia.
good.
And you were, yes, you shared some great information about dyslexia.
Oh, thank you.
So just doing your own research and finding great resources and learning,
Right.
is- you can't do better than that for a
Yeah.
classroom teacher.
And there are some really great, reputable
Mhm.
resources. And I know on your website, there is that resource part and the outreach that provides some of
Right.
that information too. So, yes.
So last week we were fortunate enough to attend the International Dyslexia Association
I'm
conference.
so jealous.
It was great.
And a lot of the speakers were really talking about the importance of oral language development
Mhm.
on reading and comprehension. So really looking at oral language development for kids
Mhm.
and interventions, as well as just good classroom instruction
Mhm.
or good classroom tools and strategies to develop that in kids is
Mhm.
super important.
Mhm.
And another big focus area was about explicitly teaching affixes and morphological word families such as nature, unnatural, naturalism,
Yeah.
supernatural, denatured,
Right.
and talking about all of that will really build up the kids' vocabulary.
Right. And I believe that the affixes and the morphological parts are a place that secondary. And that is a place
Yes,
they need
yes.
to latch onto
Yes.
because so much of, especially our content
Right.
classes, they're so heavy in vocabulary, but they're all morphologically
Right.
based.
Mhm.
And once you know a couple of a content area, you just open up the whole world of that content area. And so that being a place that our secondary teachers can really focus with all of their kids, but especially their kids with dyslexia, would be so wonderful.
Mhm.
Great opportunity for them.
Yes.
Everything that you've mentioned is just great suggestions, and I think absolutely applicable to our to teachers and leaders in outside of the private school system. If someone listening loves what they're hearing and wants to partner with Churchill and bring their training to their district or their community, how would they start?
By calling Rachel Wheatley, our director of the Sandra K. Gilligan Partnership. So, yes, that would be a great place to start.
You can call our school, look us up, and just dial the main number and ask for me. Or you can go to our website and you'll find emails and more information about our outreach program too,
Yeah.
and all the opportunities. We do have a speaker coming next week, Peggy Campbell Rush, and it's open to everybody in the
Oh,
evening
wow.
for an evening session. So that is a great opportunity too for people to come and learn. She's going to talk about executive functioning, which is a very hot topic.
Yes.
That's probably one of the most requested professional developments that we're getting right now is for ADHD
that's interesting
and
to know.
executive functioning.
Today's been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've provided such a powerful look into or inside a learning community that's built on deep expertise and strong relationships and such a genuine belief in the success of every child. I'm going to try to wrap up all the things that we've talked about. There's so much. So I'm going to do my best. So bear with me. So we've learned today that Churchill really, the model of Churchill depends on daily one-to-one tutorials for each student, along with small group instruction and curriculum classes for content like math, science, and that sort of thing that are led by expert teachers who help students with dyslexia build skills and competence. We also have learned about the high specialized training that teachers here have that, and it's ongoing, that there are so many opportunities for teachers to grow, and it's highly supported by the leaders and just the mission and beliefs of Churchill.
They truly are lifelong learners.
Yeah, yes, you have to embody that here and live it. Not just say you are, but you have to really live it. And I think that's wonderful. We've learned a lot about how your outreach works to empower the community and the families of the students with dyslexia, but also works with other schools. So we've learned how your outreach works to empower families through workshops and simulations like the Experience Dyslexia, but also one of the things that stuck out to me most was the demystification projects that occur here. That alone can absolutely change the trajectory of a child's life.
Absolutely.
We know now too that even if you're in a traditional public school setting, that Anne and Rachel, you've reminded us that there are still things that we could do and take action on tomorrow. Things like focusing on building really strong relationships, using evidence-based instruction with fidelity, and creating safe spaces where students feel seen, supported, and proud of who they are, so that their worth goes far beyond their reading ability. I think that it's been clear that when you blend research and heart with really good instruction, all things are possible.
Great
for
things
our
can
students.
happen.
Yes, and our kids feel empowered, right? Which is a lifelong skill that they need. If you want to partner with Churchill, like they said, and bring their outreach to your school community, you can visit churchillstl.org and look for the outreach and workshop tab. And that's where you can find training, events, and connection opportunities. And they're all just right there. As we honor Dyslexia Awareness Month, Anne and Rachel, you have really helped us remember that when you lead with knowledge, empathy, joy, and passion, and high quality instruction, that we don't just teach kids to read, we really help them believe in their future. And thank you
Thank
for
you.
doing that.
Thank
It's such a great mission that you're living every
And we
day.
are a resource for our
Yeah.
community.
Yes.
So I
Yeah,
hope people reach out.
I do too. Yes.
It was wonderful talking with you today.
Thank you.
No, thank
I
you.
really enjoyed it. I'm very excited about
Well, so are we.
this. I hope that the insights today help you as you navigate your journey in education with clarity and confidence. If you found today's episode valuable, consider sharing it with a colleague who might benefit from today's message. Thank you for joining the Compass PD podcast. Remember, at Compass PD, we believe that every educator has the power to inspire change and transform student learning.